Hey guys, and welcome to the new episode of Automated Seller Podcast. Today I have a very special guest, Yoni, a co-founder of GETIDA. Hey Yoni, how are you?
Good to be here, Jacob. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. I know we've met at the Israel at Tel Aviv conference, and yeah, I actually saw you guys there. I saw you also at the Prosper show. Pretty much on every conference, I see your logo, and it's just crazy that you can be a guest here on this podcast. So, really, congrats! I know that you are Chief Growth Officer of GETIDA, and I can just tell that you are doing great your job. So,
Thank you.
perfect. So Yoni, I would love to start basically with some of your backstory. Like I know you co-founded GETIDA. We'll get to the GETIDA in a moment, but what actually brought you to the Amazon at the first place, to the community, and so on? Like, how did you start your journey?
So I guess there's two journeys, right? So when you say Amazon, you mean e-commerce. So I guess my first journey was into e-commerce, and within my journey in e-commerce, I eventually reached into Amazon. I would say that the early start with Amazon. Let's start with e-commerce. I used to work for a company. We used to do sales and distribution for a supplements company, and this was already 2009, 2010. We simply had a website where we were selling the products there, and then we're also selling to Amazon. I think I wanted to kind of expand the online sales. I listed the products on Amazon third party, but also I listed it on eBay, and then that was kind of the dabbling that I had with e-commerce and selling on other platforms. And also when I was in college, I used to buy books from Amazon, and also you had two options to get your money back with books: either do a trade-in, or the other option was to sell your book on Amazon. So I realized that if you sell your book on Amazon, you get more money. So for example, if I would sell the book, I would get $80, but if I do trade-in, I'll get only like $20. So that was a lot of money. That difference was a lot for me back then. So I decided to kind of sell the book on Amazon, which gave me a very early experience on how to use the platform. And then over the years, what happened was, so this is how I got into e-commerce and also into Amazon. You want me to kind of continue
Yeah,
into the
sure.
journey? Yeah.
I'm really curious. Like those are the best stories because I mean everyone see the success, but then the people don't realize what's behind that. So I'm really curious. So again, when exactly you listed those products? That was 2000.
2009, 2010, that was my early dabbling
Wow,
in e-commerce and also Amazon.
crazy. That's super
Yeah,
early.
yeah, but our focus was, mainly retail, like brick and mortar retail, and then online was kind of in the background because it's you have to have a website, you have to kind of offer it, and maybe some days will will be a big business. That was kind of the mindset of those days, and
Hmm.
what happened was, I'm Jewish and I'm Orthodox, so I keep the Sabbath. So I in the synagogue I met a very interesting fellow, and his name is Max Boren. Today he's my partner. We've been partners for over 10 years. And I was doing the sales and distribution for a supplements company, and he was doing accounting for a furniture company. But we're getting pretty friendly, and we both had this entrepreneurial spirit and bug in us, and we constantly identify that e-commerce and I guess also Amazon, it has a lot of potential. There's a lot of momentum there. So on the side, we started selling things, whatever we can get our hands on. It was mainly actually on eBay. And then in 2013, we started selling on Amazon. And then the business grew very, very quickly. Once we really hit Amazon, it was like a
Hmm.
volcano erupted. So the business grew really quickly from 0 to 20 million in annual sales, mainly in FBA sales. And then we became a part of a larger group that together as a group, we're doing about 100 million in revenue. And what happened was that we were heavily reliant on FBA, on Amazon's fulfillment services.
Hmm.
And we had so much data to process, so many transactions to reconcile. We're not able to use Excel spreadsheets anymore.
Yeah.
They were constantly breaking. Um, so that kind of pushed us to do two things. First thing was to create technology to constantly audit and reconcile all the transactions that we have on FBA and try to identify, of course, if any of the inventory gets lost, damaged, destroyed, disappeared, disposed, overcharged with fees. You have a whole laundry list of things you kind of look into
Yeah.
with a massive amount of data. So once again, making sure that we have a good technology that can audit and handle this at scale was the first component. The second component was to service the issue, meaning once we've discovered the problem, we have to open a case with Amazon. We got to manage all the back and forth and solve it. So to
Yeah.
create technology and
That's a
create
tough process. So.
yeah. So first to create a technology, second to create a dedicated team to just solve this issue. So we had to solve this issue for us, and we did, and that's how we created this solution, and it worked pretty well. And what happened was we told our friends from the industry we have these capabilities. Um, um, they told us, help us, we'll pay you, and that was the early beginning of GETIDA back in 2015. And
Mm-hmm.
then over the years, GETIDA grew organically because the value proposition was very simple. It's performance based. So if we don't get any value back to you, we don't get you any reimbursements or refunds, we don't make anything. So with this model, it just grew for 3-4 years, word of mouth. We didn't really do any
Mm-hmm.
conferences, marketing, or anything like that. But a few years in, we were in a junction where we had two good businesses, but we realized that with GETIDA, there's an opportunity to really help sellers
Yeah.
all over the world. That's how met you also. I met you around the world, right? Everywhere I go, you go. So it's pretty cool. And then so what we did was we decided to cash out of retail and take all the money that we kind of made and reinvest it into GETIDA. So once our motivation, energy, focus, and attention was in one place, that's when I would say we kind of took leadership on the niche. So today we're the largest organization in the world, exclusively focused on one thing, which is the Amazon FBA auditing and reimbursements. We have a global team of over 210 people in about 10 countries. And yeah, that's kind of the story how I got into
That's
e-commerce,
awesome.
Amazon, and I
Yeah.
guess GETIDA.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really love that you actually built first the solution just for your own case. You were using it and then you expanded this way. I mean, we really see a similar case when we build custom tools for some sellers. Like they come to us, they have their own, like, let's say, way of running the businesses, especially like lately we've been one system, Acorn system for arbitrage sellers. And they came to us with like 15 different Google spreadsheets with different processes, different like Google scripts. And they said, hey, we need this one tool which will streamline the whole thing. We've built that. Now they grew so fast that they had to hire more people. And now they are actually reselling the software to other people and helping other sellers. So I really love this path because you just don't build something from sake of having an idea, but just literally solving some issue and then helping others. So I love that. And also the
Yeah,
way
so
that you
our
grew.
luck was that we had to kind of build this at scale. Meaning,
Mm-hmm.
if we were built this at a smaller scale, I'm not sure we'd have that capabilities to grow outside so I guess efficiently and powerfully.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say this: what's interesting about is in the past few weeks, I guess it's daunting on me, or I come to a realization where anything you develop in software is really like giving birth. It's like giving a life. You're constantly gonna have to nourish it, especially if it's successful, right? It's just gonna
Yeah.
grow, and it catch its own dimension. So if you're watching this or listening to this, just know that anything you need to solve, and you're gonna have to build something for it in terms of technology, get ready for an adventure. It's just gonna be an adventure, and make sure you have the right team or software partner, whatever it is, because it's just life. So make sure with
Oh yeah.
anything like life, you want to make sure it has the right structure and the right path and the right environment. So get ready.
Totally. And I really wonder what was the path of the GETIDA software itself. I mean, to the point where are you right now, I believe you came through a lot of iterations of that, right? It was not like perfect from scratch. It definitely had some issues. So if you could tell a little bit more about this, especially right now, if you're helping so many sellers, it really need to be a robust solution.
So yeah, so early days. I remember I was just doing it myself manually. So I remember I went to what happened was we got very lucky. A lot of our warehouse and fulfillment team, a few of them actually, they were students, college students, and they were learning computer science. So they're basically developers. So
Yeah.
I sat down with them and said, "Hey, you guys are developers. You look pretty smart. Look at what I'm doing." And it's very hard for me to do it all the time. It just and so much data going on, and the spreadsheets are crashing. What can you help me build to make it a bit more efficient or more streamlined? Exactly like what you said earlier, Jacob. She said, okay, we can figure something out. So they did. So the first iteration was pretty crass. It was just kind of download the data, don't even open it, just feed it to this machine.
Mm-hmm.
This I remember it was a small box. You just feed it in, and all of a sudden, boom! It just does all on the back end with MySQL and JavaScript. All these scripts that we had in the background, which were much more powerful than an Excel spreadsheet, were able to kind of boom spit out the data that we needed. And that was the first iteration. And then, I mean, it's like saying, when a baby was born, how many times you have to breast milk, you have to give it the breast milk or any milk, right? How many times you have to clean it, you have to debug it. It's just endless. So that was kind of early beginning. And where we're at today, I mean, we have lots of algorithms built in. We have some patterns that we wrote, utility patterns, not design patterns on the software, right? And
Mm-hmm.
today we actually have a platform. So just to make it simple, when you sign up to GETIDA, we're going to do everything that we can to kind of get you all the refunds that we can. But if you log into our platform, we have two modules that if you use them, we're going to get you even more refunds, additional refunds. So that's obviously innovation. Plus, on the dashboard itself, you get real-time visibility to what we're doing. And we actually won the Gold Award from the American Business Awards for this dashboard because behind the scenes is a whole army that's working for you. But all
Mm-hmm.
that work is translated in real time to a dashboard. So you can always log in and see what's going on. We take it for
You mean
granted,
like
but
the actual people work
yeah, the
on your
cases that we
account?
open,
It's
what's the
not
stat?
just a software.
No, no. So yeah, I just want to kind of sharpen the tool here or
Mm-hmm.
the understanding. GETIDA, we're not a software and we're not a tool. We're a solution. As a solution, we use software and tools, but we service it ourselves. We provide the service. So together, that creates a solution. The solution is maximum reimbursements. Our mission is to make sure that Amazon FBA sellers get the maximum FBA reimbursements that they're eligible to receive. So we can do it all for you, or we're very customizable. You want us to do some of it for you? We can do it. Say this and this I know, everything else I don't know how to do. We can do it. So all these capabilities of customization and just ability to do everything, that is all layered on technology. And so each type of claim has its own different code, its own different algorithm, its own different understanding, and its own different workflow and handling.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, and all that is translated to a dashboard in real time, so you can see the cases that we're opening. What's the status of each case? Did it get paid? Did it get rejected? Is it still pending? How much money we recovered in the past 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? So we created this environment for this issue. That
That's
environment
awesome.
was never created before for this type of issue. It's all new because we're not in an old industry. It's a brand new industry that where you're inventing yourself as we go along. So today it's kind of standard in our niche that, of course, you need to have a dashboard. If you don't have a dashboard, you're not even a player in the field. So
Oh yeah.
when you came in and we kind of created standards, and now, like I said, we're kind of historically in a little bit of a leadership position. So we kind of are trying to create innovations with they're all technologically based that eventually become kind of benchmarks, because that's the way
Mm-hmm.
we see it. We see that this needs to be evolved. We have to put this edition or this rollout and this feature, and we do it, and we get good interaction, good results, and then later on we kind of see the industry kind of back into that. So that's kind of what we kind of know that by having others trying to bridge the gap, that always indicates to us, okay, we're probably kind of innovating something, but it's all through technology, it's all through
Oh
R&D.
yeah.
And from the early beginning, when we had a little bit of software, you feed it to all of this, that's a lot of mileage.
Totally. And now I wonder, actually, especially in this era of AI. I mean, AI, of course, was always with us, but recently it's booming. And I really wonder if on your roadmap right now you are actually using it a lot to also automate, especially the part of once you how to say, file the case to Amazon, right? And you have to kind of get in touch with them. Do you do it all manually right now through the customer support, or you already started to use and leverage the AI?
So we do it all manually. So all the cases that have been opening and managed, they're all managed manually, much like
Hmm.
Amazon. On the Amazon, it's Amazon's putting humans there to kind of handle the cases. But
Sometimes I don't think they are humans, but
yeah,
that's
they
just my
definitely are. I tell you
personal
how I
opinion.
know, because a big part of our employees are former Amazon employees who worked in those
Oh, nice.
departments. So they're definitely
Hmm.
human, and a lot of them, I'm proud to say, they're in our team. So
Hmm.
so they bring a lot from that experience and that know-how and that interaction and
Yeah.
that whole lingo, the language that they speak and understand. So it's called the FBA Reimbursements team. So a big part of our team are former employees in those departments. So they're definitely human and people. But what we learned very, very quickly is that these people are capable of providing tremendous output. And the main reason is because they're dealing with software. All their workflow is streamlined by software and algorithms and AI.
Hmm.
That's in that so when they get a case in, it's they get it. They have to give the human touch, but the AI or the system will tell already what it thinks needs to be done. It gives
Hmm.
you the direction. So and then you can say, okay, I kind of agree, and then you have an answer that you know what to answer, or say, no, no, this is unusual. Let me kind of look into that and provide a different type of a direction. That's what on
Hmm.
Amazon side. So we learned that over the years that's kind of what going on. So we pretty much created the environment necessary for us to also be able to have good talented people understand what's going on, They're like the
Mm-hmm.
pilots, but everything around it's kind of it's built on technology and streamlined, and also AI. So we all know that today the airplanes are really able to take off and fly and then land by themselves. But you always need to have that pilot in. So
Oh
many
yeah.
times they'll still do it. So it's kind of built like us for us. So instead, we have in the cockpit of every claim, there's a pilot that knows how to take care of everything. But of course, when it comes to submitting the case and also kind of confirming it, it all goes through humans. But all that volume that we get back from Amazon with all the responses, obviously the system and the AI, just like a human, reads it, tries to give it some sort of interpretation or understanding, and then recommend it to the human. So it's
Mm-hmm.
so we still leave the place for human intelligence because we believe that it's still vital.
Yeah.
Because Amazon is doing the same thing, and Amazon has billions invested into this. So we're pretty humble to say for our specific niche, there's room for AI to help us. So one person can do a lot, a lot, a lot, but still we need that human
But
element
still,
and
yeah,
touch.
still, you still need the person.
Yeah. So this is
It,
in our little environment. That's where we are.
that's exactly how we also leverage the AI. We treat it as assistance. We don't substitute human, but like just when you use a proper AI tools to solve problem issues, you can do just much more. So I 100% agree. Now I wonder, speaking of data, speaking of numbers, I believe that, I mean, your business model is like no brainer, because if someone is losing money on Amazon, I believe that you just need to educate this person that, hey, just by working with us, will get your money back, right? Just by taking some percentage. So, speaking of educating sellers, like how much of the annual revenue are they losing and they are not aware of that? Just so they can understand how powerful using GETIDA might be.
Got it. So if you're watching this or listening to this and you're an Amazon FBA seller as opposed to FBM, fulfilled by merchant, you're an FBA, so fulfilled by Amazon. So use Amazon's fulfillment centers. So the simple level of statistics is on an annual basis, the discrepancy rate can range between 1 to 3% from your revenue. So for example, if you're doing $1 million a year on FBA, it could be that $10,000 to $30,000 of your revenue or your inventory had an issue that you need to kind of examine, reconcile, claim, and then get reimbursed for it. Okay, that's kind of the opportunity. Or if you're doing 100 million, 1 to 3% could be 1 to 3 million, and on it goes. So I guess also in other words is that for every 100 units you ship to Amazon's fulfillment centers, between 1 to 3 units is going to experience an issue throughout its lifetime with Amazon's fulfillment center. So here I want to expand a little bit to give more context
Mm-hmm.
so sellers understand what's going on here. So I'm just going to give the first easy example, and then I'll give more complication, but simplify it. So, Jacob, you said you want to ship to Amazon 1,000 units. Amazon, instead of receiving 1,000 units in their warehouses, they only receive 190 units. It's up to you. The responsibility is up to you, to the seller, to first discover that, reconcile that, and then provide all the necessary information. Open a case with Amazon and say, hey, please investigate, and go to
Mm-hmm.
work. So if they investigate and they find the missing 10 units, that's great. You can sell and make money, no harm done. If they cannot find it and it's deemed lost, they will compensate you. They provide you a reimbursement for that loss that has got missed in inbound. And that is the entry level that most sellers can understand because all the FBA sellers send inventory to Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But now more complex issues happen. So once the units are inside Amazon's fulfillment centers, all of a sudden inside the centers, all of a sudden they get lost, damaged, destroyed, disappeared, overcharged with fees inside, but also between. Sometimes Amazon might shift your products from Kentucky to California to Nevada. Same issues happen. From the fulfillment centers to the consumers, when the orders come in, same
So
issues
they
happen.
also make mistakes, although there's so much automation going on still in the warehouse
Yeah, yeah.
itself.
When it comes to inventory and logistics, every time you move inventory from point A and point B and also store it somewhere, you constantly have to be on the lookout for it. You have to constantly see what's going on and track it. That's kind of what we do. But this explains the complication. But also, just to complete the whole cycle, issues happen when Amazon sends it to the consumers, but also when the consumers send it back to Amazon with all the refunds and returns. Also, many issues happen there. But also from the fulfillment centers back to you. So all these logistics friction points, that's when all these issues happen, and you, the seller's responsibility is up to you to constantly track that and monitor it. And once you find the discrepancy, report it to Amazon, and they'll take care of you. So that's where So that's where we come as a solution. That's kind of where we
I
live and
mean,
die.
it's not in it's not in the business of Amazon to kind of even give you this information, right? I mean, they can provide you with all of the data, but I mean, you created this solution that makes completely sense, right? But I mean, why would they provide you with such a solution if it's like they will have to give you back money, right? So
No, I'll
I
give it time.
can.
They created this amazing system of data of
Hmm.
visibility. The challenge is that there's so many layers of complications that can take place, and
Hmm.
so many variations. It becomes a grind. It becomes a challenge to be able to do it, and especially do it at scale.
Yeah.
When you start to kind of scale up. So um, that created an environment for us to come in and provide help or end-to-end solution or turnkey solution for sellers to resolve that. We were not born to do this. I mean, we're not born with this, but over time, the market indicated to us that they need that help. Because early on they told us, help us, we'll pay you. The early users, and over the time they just constantly came to us and said, look what happened here, look what happened there. So it's, oh, this is something new. We never saw this before. Let's create a solution or a module or workflow for that. So we constantly building our layers and intense and depth of knowledge how to do more and more and provide more impact. That goes back to our mission. Our mission is that to make sure that sellers get the maximum that they're eligible to receive. And we do it by R&D, research and development, constantly listening to the problems of the sellers to learn new things, constantly resolve that, and then we can resolve for everybody because we have a network effect. We have a large user base. So put all together, that's kind of the complications in the world that we live in. And what's interesting is that a lot of I would say the world of Amazon sellers is split 50-50. Half of the sellers are not even aware that there's an issue. They need to
Oh
solve
yeah.
it. So hopefully this episode alone will
That's
raise their
exactly
attention.
why I believe like the purpose also of those episodes of you being everywhere is to teach Amazon sellers that there's a problem. They should be aware of that.
Yeah. If you look online, look on YouTube, I not only that way we explain to them or we bring it to their attention that there's an issue, we also educate them. There's tens of millions of dollars every year that sellers are getting back with refunds. We don't see a penny out of that because we just trained them, taught them. Here's how you do it yourself. Do the maximum we really support the fact that sellers can do the maximum they can do on their own. And if they ever want us to come in and back it up, and then anything that they missed out and bring it back to them, we can do that. So
Yeah.
when you pay us, it's only for something that you will never have before. So it's always kind of a win-win proposition. So we start with education. First, know there's an issue. Here's how you solve it. And of course, if you ever want our help to do all for you or some of it for you, we're available. And most of them choose to use it
Oh yeah.
because they
I
realize, okay,
really.
yeah.
I really love your approach of like giving this value for free and then basically making sellers to choose. I mean, this is exactly how we also create our let's say YouTube channel. Like I've done YouTube tutorials on selling partner API on almost every possible topic to the point that people every day go and thanks me for this. Like just even solving the simplest issue, how to connect to the ASP API, something that Amazon through the documentation did such a bad job that no one can do it, right? So such a simple video. But then, of course, if the cases of integration are much complex, if people want to build very robust, complex solutions, they can always pick us, right? But it's not like, hey, you have to pay us to even watch something to learn it. No, all of the knowledge is there for free, but then sellers can pick. And I think it's also one of the best ways of doing marketing nowadays. And
Yeah, I call it I don't know. So it's really education.
yeah,
Education. Once you're educated, you can make educated decisions. You can make really smart one and good ones. So we're very into the fact that sellers that partner with us, they do it because they're very well educated about it. They know exactly what it's worth, what it's all about. They're not just blindly. I'm sure some of them are, but as much as we can over time to keep educating them because the issue constantly also evolves, right? So Amazon will introduce a new requirement. We're gonna have to start educating our
oh
large
yeah,
user base about this requirement because we might need their participation in some degree. So relationship, education, evolvement, and dynamics is something that we are attentive to because this industry is hyper dynamic. It constantly moves, constantly changes. So
oh
in the
yeah,
early days, like we'll do everything for you. You don't have to really think about anything. But today, over the years, that dynamic has changed. It's really a partnership. It's a long term journey with the sellers that we. So by being there digitally or as a solution, but also physically, not only of course it helps us with marketing, branding, and to get new, but a lot of the current ones they still use us. We evolve together. We're
yeah,
listening to their issues. So for us, it's definitely an interesting journey. I don't know if it's usual today or unusual, but if it's unusual, I'm opening up the cards and advising software companies, technology company, or any solution provider to make sure that okay, you get the customers, but think long term about the journey, how you can create a real partnership and a real relationship with them, and prepare yourself for the changes. because the
I
only
can
thing,
only agree. It's
yeah,
much better to grow with the client, grow together. So that's also our approach when we build software. It's always like long term. It's not like you go to Upwork freelancer, solve one issue, and that's it. The freelancer disappears. We always are on a journey with a client. So
yeah, a
I
journey
really
is
like this
important
approach.
because I think I learned this back in college, and it stuck with me for many years. Change. So the only thing that doesn't change is change. Very deep, very simple, but very deep.
I
So
like it.
yeah, because of that, just be prepared for the change with you, your team, but of course your clients, your customers, the community, the environment. Just be a part of it. Be sincere, be authentic, be useful, and you probably have a lot of work ahead of you for many years. And a lot of work means good things. It's not a bad thing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And now just to also educate people, maybe you could share some of like your best case studies of your clients who are using GETIDA and got some money back.
So there's an interesting case that evolved. Once again, it goes back to the journey and relationship. So we had a client that discovered that that over time his 14% from his EBITDA from his profits were from reimbursements, which is pretty impactful. Like if because so if he wasn't doing it or maximizing it, he'll have much less profit. So that was an interesting a point of data. Of course, every year we're getting back to him tens of thousands of dollars in reimbursements. So what happened was it came to a point where he wanted to do. He did an exit. He sold his company, so he made an exit. That's why you have to kind of analyze, the profit, what's going on, and where's all the profit coming from. So it takes a few months to kind of gear up and shore up your company for profit. So you want to know where's the best place where profits are coming from, and where you can get more of it. Is it through PPC and advertising? You can get more revenue, or is it all of a sudden discovered, reimbursement. So they did the whole pie chart and discovered that reimbursement is about 14%. So he made the exit, and that 14%, every dollar that in profit, he got a multiple. So for every dollar we got, it was worth like $3, $4, $5, whatever the
Yeah.
multiple was, which was very, very impactful for that seller. He made a nice exit. He sold his company to a public company, and it's all good. But what's interesting was that person that got that impact, that really positive impact, once he cashed out his company, he cashed out of it. So he had two things that he had. He had money. He also had a lot of time in his hand. But what's interesting with this person is that he was also very well connected in this environment. He was very successful. He built two successful companies that both of them sold to public companies.
Hmm.
First one that I just told you is Amazon company. The second was the Prosper Show. You know the Prosper Show?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's amazing show. I mean, that was my first one this year, but for the next one, we already also got the booth there. So.
Right. So that's like the most important show for the Amazon sellers.
Oh
That's
yeah.
like the benchmark show. So
That's
that
that's how I heard it, right? Because we are in a community just for more than 1 year, and there's a couple of conferences around the world. But I was always asking for the number one show, and every client of us said, "Oh, there's this one in Las Vegas every year. Should guys go there?" And it was like, "All right, let's go." And it was awesome show.
so that person was one of the co-founders of the show, and he sold that show to a public company. So now it's owned by a public company.
Oh wow,
So the person created two world-class solutions or environments in the e-commerce space and Amazon space that sold to public companies. So that person today is our CEO of GETIDA. He's one of
that's
the investors
crazy.
and CEO of GETIDA. His name is Eitan Wiener. So the way we got to know him is that our first Prosper Show, he came to meet and greet us. He's an Amazon seller. He created the Prosper Show. He said, "I'll try you guys out." He had a good impact, a good experience. I told you also about the experience with the exit. So once he had two exits and a lot of time and money in his hands, but all this experience in the e-commerce space, um, the stars aligned, and we got very lucky that and humbled that he was saying, he saw the potential that he has to help other sellers all over the world, like he did before with Prosper Show and other things. So yeah, today's the CEO, and that's one unique story that I would say that from helping sellers, how we create this adventure and journey together.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. So, Yoni, I have one more question actually for you regarding plans in the future. And I know it might be like maybe on a secret or the roadmap. You may not share it. Maybe you may. Especially recently, I've noticed some trend also like on the shows. You can see it on a Prosper show and other shows. That, for example, Walmart is getting bigger and bigger. There are first agencies coming up and with very similar business model as Amazon agencies, right? There's so much similarities. People are saying that Walmart right now is like Amazon in 2017, but just growing much faster because all of the
I would say the
schemes
Walmart
are
right now
basically
is,
the
is
same.
like, yeah. So I would say the difference between Amazon and Walmart is like the difference between eBay and Amazon in 2005. You know, like
Okay.
2005, eBay was dominating, and Amazon was kind of up and coming in the background. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Exactly.
what I think.
Exactly.
Historically, I'm not a historian, but yeah,
so
17
so
will
my
be a big compliment for Walmart. But yeah.
Oh yeah, but so my question is basically regarding like GETIDA plans. Do you actually plan also to come up with some solution for Walmart or other marketplaces, or you just do a laser focus and stick only to Amazon?
So it's a combination of things. Looking into the future, we realized that okay, we came to a certain level of success, and it's very good. It's pretty large, but we really sincerely believe that it's really the tip of the iceberg. You know, we have tens of thousands of users. It's all good, but there's millions of sellers out there. So we have to catch up and try to help them all over the world.
Hmm.
So we're doing pretty good in the United States, but in the past year we expanded into Europe, and now that China is physically opening up, we're gonna open up the Asian and the Chinese physical presence in Asia and China. To make sure that we can help more sellers with this issue, and this issue alone, like I said, is constantly evolving, and we recognize that. So the only thing that doesn't change is change, and we are that's in our strategy to keep changing and modifying. So yeah, it's hyper focused in this niche, but we already kind of prepare strategically into the future with a few elements. So in the past year, we have private equity that joined us, and now so we're backed up strategically by private equity. So we have sister companies that do the same thing that we do. They get all this data, they audit it, and get either recoveries or cost reduction in other verticals. So we have with carriers like UPS, FedEx, stuff like that. If you have issues, we can get you refunds or
Hmm.
reduce costs over there, or telecommunications, waste management, government, and taxes. We have all these companies that kind of do what we do in other verticals. And today we're pretty much the largest group in the world focused on business to business cost reduction and recoveries. So GETIDA, we're specialists in our niche. We're the brain surgeon
Yeah.
that goes deep and deep and deep into the future. And now with AI and all that stuff, and all these other sister companies, they kind of they specialize in cardio, this and that, but they all kind of specialists in their vertical. So
Yeah.
strategically, we're aligned to provide businesses all over the world with kind of what we do in many other verticals. And that is very powerful together. We have like you mentioned Walmart. Walmart is a client, for example. So keep that in
Okay.
mind, or Dunkin' Donuts. So with this big corporation that we're in, we have already strategic clients that we're part of a very unique ecosystem environment. So we're comfortable on a strategic level, but also micro focus level. I think we're geared up. So we're looking forward to what the future brings.
Awesome. That's very impressive. Thanks, Yoni. Thanks for joining the podcast. Just for some last few words, could you share maybe how people can start using GETIDA? Where can they register? And how can they find you? I mean, I see the big logo in the back, so it's not that hard to find you, but still.
Yeah. So what I do want to take a moment maybe to present them a special offer. So you can just visit
Okay.
getida.com/Delta Logic, right? Delta is DELTOLOGIC. GIC, right? Delta Logic. So, and we'll get you. Let's do a $400 offer, for example. Let's say get you $400 for free. So the first $400 we get free in
Awesome.
refunds. Well, free is not going to cost you anything, so it's a guarantee that you have $400 extra in your pocket just from taking your time and listening to this. After $400, if you want to leave us, you can leave. If you want to stay, you can stay. Whatever you want to do, that's fine. Yeah, you can find us there with this offer, or I'm very active at social media. Just put Yoni Mazor on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Pretty active there as well. Happy to be in contact and help in reimbursements or any other way. Just happy to help always.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll make sure to put everything also in the description of this video and a podcast so people can start using it. I mean, again, this podcast is growing, so I believe there will be definitely some people using it. And if not now, then in the future. So, Yoni, it was awesome. Thank you for being here. And yeah, we'll see each other soon.
You got it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Bye bye.